For months now, critics have been arguing that India is being sidelined on global stages, that Pakistan is winning the narrative war. But while headlines focus on diplomacy, summits, and photo opportunities, India has been building influence in a very different way. Not with speeches, not with photo ops, not by hiring expensive lobbyists, but by simply shipping missiles. A missile called the BrahMos. The latest chapter in BrahMos diplomacy is unfolding in the Gulf. India and the United Arab Emirates are in advanced discussions for a defense deal that could be worth up to $4 billion. At the heart of it are two Indian systems, the BrahMos missile and Akash Tir, India's fully automated air defense command and control platform. Today, India's supersonic missile is doing far more than defending borders. It is quietly rewriting the strategic map of Asia, the Gulf, and even the Mediterranean. This is the story of BrahMos diplomacy, and it may be the most important strategic move by India in a world that seems to be spinning out of control. What was already a formidable missile became a proven battlefield weapon. And a proven battlefield weapon, when offered to the right countries at the right moment, becomes something else entirely. It becomes foreign policy. And India is sending a message to friends and foes alike. India's latest BrahMos move is unfolding in the Gulf with a potential deal for the missile and Akash Tir with UAE. Now, Abu Dhabi's interest is not accidental. It was directly targeted by Iranian strikes during the recent Middle East conflict. The Strait of Hormuz, the single most important shipping lane for UAE's energy exports, was at the center of the war. According to Indian government sources cited by Reuters, talks are moving fast. The deal is expected to be signed within weeks. CIPRI, the global body, has noted that BrahMos and Akash Tir would serve the UAE's needs to a very large extent. This is a major breakthrough. It is India's first serious defense foothold in the Gulf, and it sends a clear signal to Pakistan, which has long assumed that the Gulf states are its backyard. That assumption is now being challenged. There's another chapter to BrahMos diplomacy that is making Erdogan's Turkey, a very close ally of Pakistan, very uncomfortable. During Operation Sindoor, Turkish-made Bayraktar drones and missiles were used by Pakistan to strike at Indian Air Force and Army bases. They failed to make an impact. But the message from Ankara was unambiguous. Turkey was openly siding with Pakistan, even willing to send them weapons. What did India do to retaliate? It went to Armenia and Cyprus. Armenia is a victim of direct Azerbaijani military aggression supported by both Turkey and Pakistan. India has now signed a comprehensive defense deal with Armenia, with BrahMos as a central element. Armenia, armed with BrahMos, is a strategic headache for Turkey as well as Azerbaijan. Then came Cyprus. Turkey considers Cyprus its strategic backyard, and PM Modi visited Cyprus and signed a comprehensive defense deal. Once again, BrahMos was at its core. Greece, Armenia, Cyprus, all potentially equipped with India's BrahMos, represents a new balance of power in a region where Turkey has assumed dominance for decades. The Gulf and the Mediterranean stories are new, but the Southeast Asia story has been building for years, and it now has concrete outcomes to show. India signed a BrahMos deal with the Philippines in 2022. 3 shore-based coastal missile batteries valued at approximately $375 million. The Philippines received delivery in 2024 and deployed the system. Then came Vietnam. India's Defense Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh has confirmed publicly that the BrahMos deal with Vietnam has already been signed. The deal is valued at about $629 million, or roughly 60 billion rupees. Indonesia too is waiting in the queue. Delhi and Jakarta have finalized a BrahMos package that includes not just missiles, but a joint defense industry cooperation committee covering technology transfer, joint research, and of course, supply chain integration. Then there are more Chinese neighbors in the line, Thailand and Malaysia. The next target for BrahMos diplomacy is Africa and America's backyard, with South Africa, Brazil, and Chile all having expressed an interest in the supersonic missile. And in Europe, even Russia is ready to induct these India-made BrahMos in its arsenal. And here is what the transformation looks like in hard numbers. In 2013-14, India's total defense exports were worth just $7.26 odd million. That is not a typo. $7 million. In the year ending March 2026, defense exports crossed $4 billion. India has set a target of 50,000 crore rupees in defense exports by 2030. BrahMos alone, with Vietnam, Indonesia, UAE, Philippines, and the pipeline of interested buyers that we've spoken about, could account for a substantial share of that target. A dedicated BrahMos production facility is actually now operational in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, to meet the rising global demand. And India just rolled out its first fully indigenous BrahMos warhead on June 22nd, just a day ago of this year. Even the warhead is now made in India. And that's not all. There is more coming up next. India and Russia are planning to develop the BrahMos NG, or the next generation version, which will be smaller, lighter, and faster to deploy. The bigger upgrade will be the BrahMos 2 hypersonic missile. It is expected to fly at 8 times the speed of sound and nearly 3 times faster than the current BrahMos. The projected range will cover vast areas of Pakistan and China. So here is the full picture. Pakistan spends millions on lobbies, PR firms, narrative management. It has successfully positioned itself, at least for now, as the peacemaker in the US-Iran talks. And critics are busy saying that India has been upstaged. But while Pakistan was managing perceptions, India was managing geography. It armed Vietnam against Chinese maritime pressure. It armed the Philippines against Chinese bullying in South China Sea. It is arming Armenia against Turkey and Azerbaijan. It is arming Cyprus against Turkish dominance in the Mediterranean. And it is now in the Gulf, in a potential $4 billion deal with the UAE, at a moment when Abu Dhabi is specifically looking to diversify from dependence on any single supplier. So BrahMos is not just a missile, it is India's instrument of strategic reach in theatres where India previously had no presence. It is the tool through which New Delhi is telling Beijing, Ankara, and Islamabad that India holds cards in your neighborhood too. The noise belongs to Pakistan, the geometry belongs to India. This is Times Axis, where global stories meet India's perspective. Click on the bell icon to subscribe, because the next big global shift will have India at its center.